All right, today we are diving into something really different, a conceptual blueprint for how consciousness might actually work. It's called the Beyond Engine, and it suggests that our awareness isn't just some random mysterious thing, but a structured, almost geometric system. Let's see what that really means. So let's start with a really provocative question. What if consciousness isn't this great unknowable mystery we think it is? What if it's actually running on a kind of operating system? One that perceives, processes, and then expresses reality. That's the core idea we're going to unpack. Now, the key to this whole thing is a word, bayan. You might know this word to mean speech or expression, but in this model, it's way, way deeper than that. It's the fundamental interface engine of our consciousness. Think of it like the software that runs everything: how we see, how we decode, and how we interact with the world around us. So, to understand this engine, we've got to start at its absolute foundation. And you might be surprised to hear it's all built on a simple but incredibly powerful geometric idea: the number 4. In this system, 4 isn't just a number, it represents the entire stable frame of any conscious experience. And here it is, visualized as a simple square. This shape, this number 4, is the absolute heart of the model. It's the stable, four-sided container that holds every single perception, every thought, every single moment of your awareness. So what's this square really doing? Well, think of it as the structure, the frame, the literal boundary of an experience. It's like the screen you're looking at, or the window you're looking through. It's the stable interface that manages that constant flow between your inner world of thoughts and the outer world of events. Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating. The model breaks that number 4 down into 3 symbolic roots that create what it calls a corridor of experience. These are represented by the numbers 13, 22, and 31. Now, don't get too hung up on the numerology. Just think of them as codes for 3 distinct stages: an entry gate, a processing corridor, and an exit gate. Let's walk through that corridor together. Our journey through this corridor of experience starts right where you'd expect, at the very beginning, at the entry gate. This is the moment a conscious experience is first sparked into existence. The geometry here is beautifully simple, and it's coded as 13. Picture a single point of awareness, that's the 1, the dot, entering into a receptive structure, which is the 3, the triangle. This symbolizes that very first instant of perception. So what's happening at the entry gate? This is the spark. It's where awakening begins, where your perception just clicks on. Your awareness has officially entered the experience world. It's that first moment you recognize a difference between you and something else, that first flicker of contrast. And what's really interesting is that the source material connects this stage to a specific verse in the Quran from a chapter called Rahman. The verse repeatedly asks, "Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny?" The model sees this as the very first call to reflection, the moment the conscious system truly wakes up. All right, so once our awareness is through that gate, it enters the main processing area. And this is where things get really interesting. We are now in what the model calls the duality corridor. The code for this stage is 22, and it's symbolized by 2 lines running in parallel. And that is a perfect metaphor for the fundamentally dual nature of reality that our consciousness is constantly trying to navigate. This lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? We're living in the physical world and a metaphysical one at the same time. We operate on a conscious level, but also a subconscious one. We experience our waking life and we experience our dream life. This corridor is where we travel along both of those tracks at once. So, you can think of this corridor as the engine room of the whole system. It's here that the Bayan interface really gets to work, acting as a decoder, making sense of information coming from both of those parallel streams. This is the space where we are constantly learning to navigate 2 different worlds at the same time. And once again, the source finds this really beautiful parallel in the Quran, the image of 2 seas meeting. And where these 2 different bodies of water come together, valuable things like pearls and coral are produced. It's a powerful metaphor for how our consciousness creates real, tangible meaning out of duality. After moving through that really complex processing corridor, every experience eventually has to come to a conclusion, and that brings us to the final step in our journey, the exit gate. Now, check this out. The geometry here is coded as 31, and it's the perfect inverse of how we came in. The entire structure of the experience, the triangle, or the 3, now resolves and collapses back into a single, unified point of awareness, the dot, the 1. So what really happens at the exit gate? Well, the experience is officially completed. Any insights you gained from that metaphysical track get integrated into your conscious understanding. The frame of the experience dissolves, and you return to a state of unity and clarity, totally ready for the next experience to begin. The final checkpoint in this Quranic mapping is a verse that talks about the accountability of the two travelers. This is seen as that moment of integration, where the conscious self has to account for what it's learned on its dual journey through those parallel realities. Okay, so let's zoom all the way out. We've just walked through the entire corridor of a single conscious experience. So what does this all mean when we put it together? It means we have a complete and pretty elegant model for a consciousness operating system. This slide just puts it all together perfectly. This Beyond OS has four main functions. You've got perception, where you enter the experience. Then you have processing, where you navigate the duality. That leads to articulation, the ability to express what you've learned within that stable frame. And it all ends with integration, where you make sense of the whole journey and exit with a new understanding. So, why does any of this matter? What's the point? Well, according to the model, this isn't just theory. This operating system is what allows us to do some pretty incredible things. That journey through duality, that's what lets us decode reality and navigate between our waking and dream states. The exit gate, that's what lets us interpret symbols and integrate insights. It's basically a toolkit for understanding our own inner world. And that brings us to the end of our look at the Bayan engine. It presents consciousness not as a static thing, but as a dynamic journey through a structured corridor, which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If your consciousness really is this engine, constantly moving through this corridor of experience, what meaning have you decoded from your journey so far?